We have a habit of hiding. Hiding is a habit. I know some of y'all still talking about stunting is a habit. I'll let her know, whatever he said. Because we are scared to be in places and in spaces. We think everything and we see everything as a threat because we have been threatened before. We have been hurt before. What they're doing is they're giving up meeting together. I got too busy. There's something else to be done. So, have you ever been ghosted before? You may not want to admit it, but I will admit it. I have been ghosted numerous times. I ain't lying. I don't know what it is that I may have said or done up on a particular date, but all I know is I thought that I had a good time, get home, expecting that text. I had a good time text, nothing. No call back, no show, no text, no Instagram, no email, not a pigeon and some smoke. I mean, it was just complete silence. And honestly, I have ghosted some other people before. And so maybe I do understand why I may have been ghosted, because there's a few dates that I've been on where I'm just like, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. And I didn't know how to go back and say, this ain't it. Although I do prefer to do that. But it's like, I don't want to do it over text. I want to do it in person because I feel like that's more respectable. And it just gets to the point where instead of texting you that I'm not interested and trying to figure out when can we meet again, which, causes both of us time so I can tell you in person that I'm not interested, I just stop texting. I just go ghost. And the thing is, we do this in communities, especially faith communities as well. So we understand it better that whenever we enter a space where things start to get a little tense, things start to get a little tough, maybe we're not as interested as we thought that we were, or maybe they're not as interesting as we thought that they were, we tend to go ghost. We tend to go straight out of whatever group, organization, job that we are a part of. I believe that it is a common way of life, and it is, hard, the way that we go about doing it. But everybody does it, and everybody has had it done to them at some point. That is going ghost. We do that not only in person, in personal relationships like dates, but we do that in communities of faith. And we do that in many different ways. For me, it's that unread text. You got a lot of unread text in your phone. That's me. I got a lot of messages, whether it's on Snapchat, Instagram, or texts that people have sent me that I just have not read yet. I know that I need to read them. I know that I need to respond, but they are still left unread because I'm not ready to get to it right now. And so the problem is those texts, those Instagram, those messages start to pile up. Those reach outs start to pile up. And now you feel overwhelmed at just the amount of text that you need to get back to. Sorry, friends, family, people who text me. I'm just one of those people. I'm just not going to get back as soon as I can. But I promise I've seen it. I'm getting back. But the more that you get, the more impossible it seems, or it feels like you can get back to where you are now communicating again. There is a social media mirage. Now, I deal with this often as a Christian content creator. And so when I'm posting videos and, when people are scrolling to their feed and they see a video from me, they be like, he still ain't respond to my text. He still ain't, I called him a couple of days ago, but he on Facebook. He on YouTube, he on TikTok, posting videos. I mean, to be honest, it's scheduled. So I'm not actually sitting there posting a lot of times. But I mean, that said, from their perspective, it looks and it seems as though I am so interested, or I'm more prioritizing posting content than I am responding to their text. So there's a social media mirage, and it feels like, I am ghosting my real life community. And then of course there is our favorite, the church exit. I will exit very quick. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I know some of y'all are, but I will exit very quick. It's almost like the back pew to the parking lot pipeline. You go from the front, you engage, you love it. You first get saved, and you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying the community around you, and then people just start to rub you the wrong way. I just start to, and then you get the ick. Something is said, something is done or not done in the way or in the manner that you expected it to. And then you just get the ick. And next thing you know, you've been showing up to this church now for 3 weeks and you already gone. You done did a good church exit, with your finger up. We do that a lot. Ghosting is a part of what we do. And there's many different reasons why we do it. We know the how we do it, but there's many different reasons about why we do it. And I wanted to talk about a few of those reasons because I think it's an issue of the heart if we're really honest about it. Sometimes it's not all about the other. It can be about us. There's the mask fatigue. We're ghosting other people and we're ghosting communities. At least for me, maybe I can just speak for myself if you're not ready to admit it, because I'm tired of pretending to be okay. In communities, especially in faith communities, you always have to be okay. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Today, I don't have the joy of the Lord. No, today I'm upset. Today I'm mad. And may I even say I'm pissed off today. Today has been a day. And I just came to church to check my box this week. And hopefully I can get a good word. Hopefully I can be inspired. But until I get that good word, don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't come up to me. How you doing? I'm mad. Okay. Or I'm sad. I'm depressed. I'm dealing with grief. I'm grieving something, a loss. Maybe it's a family member or maybe it's a job or another situation. I am grieving. And so I don't want to enter into a community where now I have to pretend to be okay. That's one of the hardest things, especially about being in leadership. In leadership, we expect our leaders to always be okay. And so there's the mask fatigue. And then, of course, there's the old self-preservation as an idol. We think and we believe that we are our best and our greatest protectors. That if nobody else does it, matter of fact, it ain't got nothing to do with nobody else, because we believe that us over any and everybody else is capable of protecting us. That if we don't protect us, nobody else can. And if we are not in a community where we feel like we can be protected, and sometimes it can just be you. It doesn't matter which community you're part of. You could be a cop, and we know how cops protect each other. There's cops out there that feel like you are unprotected. You are uncovered, right? It's us. It's self-preservation as an idol. If I do not protect myself, nobody else will. And then, of course, there's the big one. There's the shame. How many times do we ghost communities, especially faith communities, because of a sin that we have committed? If something that we said that was wrong. Now, I had to slow down here because a lot of times it's not the other. It's really not the other. Sometimes it's us. And I know how to apologize, but I don't want it to happen again. And even if I apologize, I know that changes the nature of our relationship. And so we ghost, not because we're afraid to apologize, not because we don't feel remorseful, but because we're scared of what the relationship will now be like and feel like. Shame will make us self-isolate. Is your solitude a place where you are actually being renewed by God, or are you just trying to avoid the truth? Because a lot of times we say, I need to pull back in order to commune with God, in order to experience God. I need to pull away from community. I need to go ghost. But are you actually being filled and refilled, or are you just trying to avoid what you are uncomfortable with? We're not the only ones. It has been like that even in the Bible days. The early Christians, the early folks who had experience and heard preaching and all of this, they were dealing with the exact same thing. Yeah, they were getting to a point where it was just an everyday thing for them, like it is for some of us. Faith has become so everyday. It's become a box to check. And here it is. They have heard the message of Jesus. They believe that Jesus is coming back, that Jesus will return for them, but they're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting. Almost like how we are now. I've heard all my life and I still hear today, we living in the last days. We know we living in the last days. Okay, it's been the last days for the past 2,000 years. Okay, at what point is going to be the last day? I don't want the last days, but it's going to be the last day. I'm making light of it because that's just our cliches in church, but it's true. We sometimes wonder that. We sometimes get to the point, just like the early church did. Okay, I know you said that Jesus then went up to heaven and he's interceding on our behalf. He's talking to God on behalf of us. But how long the conversation? Because gas ain't getting cheaper. And they still calling about my student loans. So how long the conversation go be? We find ourselves in a position where we do faith every day and it becomes so everyday that it becomes mundane. We become used to it. God is so extraordinary, yet in our lives so common. And so the early church here in the book of Hebrews, they were getting to the same point. Yeah, they became lethargic in their waiting for Jesus to return. And not only are they tired of waiting on Jesus to come back, not only are they questioning and they having doubts, their own doubts about whether or not this is the right way to go, because this is completely different than what they're used to. Right. And not only are they having a huge mind and perspective change by believing that Jesus is the ultimate sacrifice and they don't have to follow the law, and they're trying to figure out, do I have to follow the law? Which parts of the law? If so, Jesus said he came to fulfill the law, not do away with the law. What that means, they're trying to pair it together. And it's becoming so much something. It's becoming so overwhelming that now they're getting to the point where they don't know. And so the writer in Hebrews has to encourage them. Now, we don't exactly know who the writer of Hebrews is, but we know that they're very logical and methodical speaker and preacher. And we know that in the book of Hebrews, the writer of Hebrews, this preacher, is now exhorting and encouraging the people of God to stay close, to stay a part of the faith, because it's become so mundane. It's become so everyday. And in verse 23 of chapter 10, the writer says, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. And all the more as you see the day approaching." There are a few things that stick out to me in this particular passage. Number one, the habit of hiding. The writer here says that are some, right, not give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing. We have a habit of hiding. Hiding is a habit. I know some of y'all still talking about stunting is a habit. God let it know, whatever he said. But for the rest of us, hiding is a habit. Because we are scared to be in places and in spaces. We think everything and we see everything as a threat because we have been threatened before. We have been hurt before. And so hiding has now become a habit. And so just like here in the early church, what they're doing is they're giving up meeting together because something's come up. I got too busy. There's something else to be done. I got to get back to what I say is real life. While Jesus is trying to take over all of my life and he wants all of my existence, I got to get back to real life. And so it becomes so everyday, so lethargic, so tired that they have found other things to take the place of their time with God and their time with community. We have a habit of hiding. It's muscle memory. Understand the other thing that I take from this is that there is a purpose in proximity, encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. The writer says that the purpose of that proximity is to encourage one another in the faith. You cannot pour out and you can't be poured into when you are isolated. And so because of our habit of hiding, we miss out on the vessels that God is trying to use in order to pour into us. And then we leave unfulfilled. We walk around unfulfilled. Yeah, you happy, you smiling, but you are unfulfilled. You are not living in your purpose because you are not surrounding yourself with people that God has called you to pour into. Then the author says that there is an urgency, and all the more as you see the day approaching. The closer we get to the return of Jesus Christ, the author is warning, we have to encourage one another to stick with it, to come out of hiding, to not ghost. So that way we can make sure that we are safe. We can make sure that we are a part of that community of believers that will one day again see Jesus. All the more, there's urgency in community. Psychologist says it like this. There's a concept of the shame isolation loop. The brain safety settings, right? The amygdala perceives social threats like being judged or found out, being discovered, being exposed, the same way it perceives a physical predator. Our ghosting is actually a freeze response. When we are encountering something that we're not so sure about, psychologists say that we are actually, our body's doing what it naturally does. We are shutting down. We are freezing. Then, of course, we have the echo chamber. Psychology shows that in isolation, our negative thoughts become louder because there is no external truth to contradict them. There's a reason why there's a hole, they call it in prison, for people. It's kind of, is there such thing as doing wrong in jail? I mean, aren't you in jail because you did wrong? I don't know. I'll let y'all figure that out. But at least in jail of all places, if you get out of line, they put you in solitary confinement. There's a reason. There's a reason why people in solitary confinement eventually, as we say, go crazy. Those internal thoughts start to speak louder than the external truth. And then, of course, there is the loneliness epidemic. Our bodies literally produce more cortisol or stress hormone when we lack meaningful social connections. Let that sink in. And they're only trying to explain what the Bible explains. The Bible goes further here because we often think that self-isolation is self-care. That's what we tell ourselves. I'm pulling back, or I'm ghosting you, or I'm not contacting you because I'm just trying to protect my mental health. That's at least my excuse. That's at least, I'm taking a mental health day. Lawrence, that was last week. It's been a week. I've been taking a mental health week. You know what? I'm just on a 90-day mental health fast. Okay. I don't want to talk to you. But scripture here goes further and says and shows us that isolation is self-sabotage. Imagine how much more you could get done in a community of people, and imagine how less you get done all alone. God is a community. God exists in the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. And if we are made in the image of God, to ghost community is to deny your own very design. How can you do one without the other? And the body needs every part. Listen, if your hand decided to ghost your arm, then the whole body suffers. Your absence, I want you to understand this. Your absence isn't just your loss. It is our loss. I'm not trying to preach you back into situations that are dangerous. I'm not trying to preach you back into communities that do not benefit you, that do not care for your mental health. But I am calling you out of isolation, out of ghosting. Grace also requires an audience. The click is realizing that you can experience the one another's of the Bible, love one another, carry one another's burdens, as it says in Ephesians, if there is no other there. To love God and to love one another. How can you love one another if there's no other? Hebrews isn't just a suggestion. I think the scary thing, now I shouldn't say scary, that's kind of a big word, but big thing about the book of Hebrews is that this preacher isn't just suggesting to us, but it is also a warning. This is what happens when we choose not to be in community, when we choose to go ghost. And so as a part of that warning, I want to give you 3 applications. These are 3 things that I think and I believe that you can do today, starting today and throughout the rest of this week. Number 1, the hiding audit. First of all, you got to get back into relationship with God. And so confess the places where you've been hiding from God. Stop ghosting God in prayer, because that's what we like to do. And it's not just that we like to do it just for the sake of it, but we're shamed. We're hurt. Maybe God did not answer a prayer in the way that we wanted him to answer. Maybe we're upset with God. I've been there. Stop ghosting God. Get back into prayer. Start that prayer routine. Even if it's just 2 minutes a day, God wants to hear from you. And so expose those hiding places, those places that you've been tucking away, that you've been ghosting God because you're afraid that God may see what you don't want him to see and what he already sees. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding both the evil and the good. He already knows, but he wants to hear it from you. Do the 5-word text. If you've been ghosting somebody in your community, you don't need a 4-page apology. Okay. You don't need to explain everything that's been happening, but at least text them and just say, hey, I've been overwhelmed. Can't explain it. Can't go through it right now. I don't have time for a therapy session, but understand I love you. I miss you, but I'm going through a lot right now. Pray for me. That's our usual excuse. When we don't want nobody in our business, I'm not going to tell you. Just pray for me. Just pray for. You don't need to know specific. Just pray. You can do that today with the person or the community group that you have been ghosting. And then lastly, the No-Lurk Law. No more lurking on people's lives from the shadows. If you're going to be on your phone, be interactive. Don't just be there and swipe and look at what everybody else is doing, everything else that's going on, but actually be interactive. Receive love, give love. I'm proud of you. Good job. This was a great talk. Don't just be lurking, but actually engage with people. If that's your community, if online is your community, and I understand that some of us, we have a better time online with people than we do in person with people. We could talk about that in a different episode. But if that's you, be interactive. Say something positive. Give love and be open to receiving that same love. The other thing, it's not a named application, but the other thing that I wrote down as I was preparing for this is to embrace the ordinary. I'm one who I get to do a lot of extraordinary things, things that I find to be extraordinary. One of the things that one of my best friends had told me before he moved out of the country, and I was trying to figure out whether or not I still wanted to do what I do. I'm cleaning up the language a little bit, but he said, Lawrence, do not stop doing cool stuff. Don't stop being extraordinary. And that has really stuck with me. But the thing is, even my extraordinary becomes ordinary. It becomes another mic. It becomes another stage. It's just another event. It's just another song. What I've learned how to do is to obviously look out, expect, and thank God for those big moments that are extraordinary. Those times where this is something that I'm doing that I will never be able to do again, or I've never done before. But I embrace God in my ordinary. This Tuesday I woke up, it was just like any other Tuesday. Just like nothing changed. I woke up at the same time I woke up last Tuesday. I got the same routine to get ready. I got the same routine for coffee. I got the same routine for prayer. I got the same routine getting in my car, driving to work. It is ordinary. And I have learned to embrace God in the ordinary because he is with you wherever you go. He's with you at all times. And so I can talk to God in my car on my way to work. That's ordinary. I do that every time on my way to work. When I sit down at my desk and I get ready to drink my coffee or I get ready to journal or whatever it is that I'm doing, I can find God in the ordinary spaces, in the ordinary places. I don't need some Grammy award winning artist to sing to me in order to inspire me. I can sing to myself. I can sing in the shower. I have learned that I can embrace the ordinary because God is in the ordinary. God is in the same places that we say that he's not. He's in the same places that we think a king is not fit to be in this palace. A king is not fit to be in that. God is right there. He's in the ordinary. So I've learned how to embrace the ordinary. A song for you as I close for you to carry this week is Kingdom by Ruth Leantra. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. But there's a line in that song. There's a light in me that was made to shine. Something great will happen when you use yours and I use mine. You got to be in community because there is a light in you that was made to shine. You are created in the image of God. And I know that we preach that. Honestly, I feel like we only preach that when we're talking about pregnancy. but we forget to remind each other of that old school Sunday school nursery rhyme. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine everywhere I go. I'm going to let it shine. There is a light in you. You are made in the image of God, which means that you are beautiful, that you are capable, because I believe that God is beautiful. I believe that God is capable, and he don't make mistakes. He builds you and he gives you exactly what you need in order to be exactly who he created you to be, not necessarily what you want to be. And that'd be our problem with God. I'm gonna speak for myself. That'd be my problem with God. Because sometimes I'd be like, Lord, why I ain't got $1 billion? Why don't I come up? I was dancing at 3 and 4, 5, 6 years old. Why didn't I come up with the dance? And now I got a hit record. God has equipped you, though, in order to be exactly who he's called you to be. Embrace that. There is a light in you, and it was made to shine, not to be hidden, but to shine, to inspire people, to bring people closer to God and community, which is exactly where God is anyway. I hope that you enjoyed this. This has been an incredible series. We got one more episode up next in this series. I damaged the baby. You ever been intoxicated and then you woke up and you're like, what happened last night? Or you're asking yourself, how can I do this thing that breaks or burns bridges or that damages my destiny? If you are in a place of spiritual intoxication where you feel like because of what you have done or because of your blackout stage that you have ruined what's next for you or what God has next for you, come back next week, because I'm going to talk to you and I'm give you some truth and I'm explaining to you why you may think that you have damaged the baby, but I'm going to explain to you exactly why God is on your side and God doesn't think that your future is in jeopardy because of your past. I'll see you next week.